least of which was to destroy certain materials. And that was evidenced later on by that experiment he did on Wall Street, where the new building, steel building, was going up, and he tried out one of his resonators, nothing more than a mechanical vibrator. It was battery operated, and set up a resonance in the steel beams to the point where it kept building up, like pushing a kid on a swing, you know. If you keep pushing, and a little push will take it a lot further every time. And he almost brought the building down. It scared the people who were working on it. They thought they were having an earthquake. And they went down and called the police and everything else. Tesla got a little bit scared, picked up his equipment, put it in his pocket, and went home.
He had one other unfortunate incident, which today we would laugh at, but was very serious at the time. He picked up radio signals from space. You know, we know today, of course, that planets radiate RF noise and so forth. But when he announced this, it just caused a sensation, and all the scientists said immediately, "What a kook! You know, what a idiot!"
There were rumors you went to Colorado Springs in order to contact Mars. Is that true?
I never intended to. However, I recorded certain electrical impulses of unknown origin, and these were repeated at constantly timed intervals. If possible, they were a kind of signal from space.
And did you in turn send them a message?
Ask the Martians that question.
Mr. President,
That's all today. No more questions, please.
They got to thinking, I'm sure, well, he's talking crazy now. He's feeding pigeons in the park, and he's got this crazy idea of transmitting signals to Mars. And
Tesla is so advanced in his thinking, so sensitive and eccentric, that few of his colleagues understand his work. He is perceived as snobbish and overconfident.
He was ostracized, I think, primarily because of his difference and because of his radical statements and because of his pronouncements of great systems. They didn't have the foggiest notion of what he was talking about.
Nikola Tesla saw many of his inventions scrutinized, then adopted by the military. However, it becomes apparent that as a citizen of the planet, Tesla ultimately serves a much higher authority.
He met Swami Vivekananda in New York City in the late 1890s. Swami Vivekananda was probably the first yogi to come to this country with Eastern philosophy and present it to the West. It was at Swami Vivekananda's lectures that Tesla picked up the Sanskrit terminology, prana, akasha, and the concepts of the ether that led him to determine, or actually led him to a point where he could describe succinctly the physics of the universe, the physics of matter, creation, this dimension.
In many of his letters, he wrote that if he were to choose a religion, it would be Buddhism. All his stories about his journeys in other worlds, about dreams, about machines that operated in his imagination, were manifestations similar to the experience of the shamans. It was known that his solutions came during a dream.
Tesla's view of the universe, his cosmology, if I might call it that, is based on viewing life from a spiritual point of view. And it was in the science of the ancient works of the Vedas where he found the spiritual terminology to describe what he saw manifest in the physical world.
What leads Tesla to this spiritual awakening may never be known. But it is not uncommon among those forward-thinking patrons of discovery, people like Robert Oppenheimer, father of the nuclear bomb, or Albert Einstein, that in the end they recognized the singular perfection of the interconnected and life-imbuing system of our planet.
He was trying to understand what the basics of energy and resonance were. What is the nature of the energy that's in the cosmos? What's the basic essence of the energies that come through nothingness to give us something? I think those were the questions that Tesla was intrigued with.
When Tesla dies at the age of 87, his legacy of over 700 important patents slip into obscurity, forgotten by nearly everyone except the U.S. government. Tesla's possessions are sequestered in a government warehouse for 10 years following his death. Official reports confirm that the collection was microfilmed during this period. When contacted, however, no government agency revealed any information regarding these microfilms. After a decade, the government officially denies the existence of any secret weapons technologies included among the Tesla papers. Rumors nevertheless persist to this day. Whatever may have befallen Tesla's undeveloped discoveries, the inventions that remain contribute daily to our science, our medicine, and our environment. Perhaps this is what Tesla ultimately envisioned. Perhaps the missing secrets of Nikola Tesla are right where they belong.
Tesla disagreed with scientists about some basic concepts of relativity theory and quantum mechanical theory, and he fell out of favor with the established scientists of the day.
Tesla was very knowledgeable about quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of relativity. Both were developed during his lifetime. And he suspected that sooner or later, quantum mechanics and relativity theorists would enter into a crisis. And that's why he used to say, "The present time is theirs, but the future is mine."
Sir Albert Einstein also said that once there's a bunch of little theories all over the world, that's a prelude to a major breakthrough in science and physics.
I think that science today needs to take a new look at some of the theories of Tesla, because there is more to the universe than what we are looking at and what we are observing with our scientific instruments. We've reached a point in our conscious evolution of the species. We have the ability at our fingertips now to engineer and to manipulate space-time and gravity. We're on the threshold of a new technology.
Nikola Tesla was the gatekeeper of lightning. Some of his ideas earned him a reputation as a fruitcake. Some permanently rocked the world of science. Still others changed our planet and our lives. The next time you plug in your cable TV, remember the man who made it all possible. You might also imagine a world with free, unlimited energy and a world without wires, because that's what we lost when we lost the lightning of Nikola Tesla. I'm Dean Stockwell, and these are the Phenomenon Archives.
In our last high-speed video, you saw cesium, and it was really good, the way it reacted quite violently. But then we thought we should have put an indicator in the water to see what happened to the water. Did it go alkali, as one might expect? And how fast does the indicator change? So now we're going to show you rubidium, and in this experiment we put phenolphthalein, an indicator, into the water, which has the advantage it's colourless in mildly acidic water and pink if the water turns alkaline. Wow. It's quite complicated what happened. So I want you to watch with me on my computer, and I'll try and explain to you what I can see, and then you can look at the videos and see what else you can see as well. So what we've got here, and it's almost life-size because this is the actual trough here, but with no water in it. We've got a trough of water and an ampoule with 5 grams, I think it was 5 grams of rubidium here. It had almost melted by the time the experiment started, and the hammer is just coming down here. The hammer, you remember, is our small metallic collider for breaking glass ampoules, and here it's coming. And it hits the ampoule and breaks it. It has broken the ampoule about here above the metal, so there's a large lump of ampoule falling down with some rubidium inside it. Here I put some metal things in to pretend it's rubidium. And you can see it is hitting water just about there, and there's some tiny pieces of rubidium coming down here with white smoke trails because it's reacting with the water vapor in the air. But what I think is exciting is that this whole trough starts flexing around, and it's really hard to bend. And even Brady, who's tougher than me, can't bend it very much. So, and it's jumping about really very strongly. And now the reaction continues. There is a small piece of rubidium metal that has jumped out. When the rubidium lands, it hits some water and itself explodes on the ground. Now, I should have explained that in front of this there was a plastic shield, so you will see bits of water hitting the shield, rather like the water hitting the windshield of a car. Now, the interesting thing is that if you watch carefully, there's another explosion. So not just one, but the whole thing starts all over again, and there's another eruption with a flexing of the plastic bowl. So what I think has happened is that when this tube goes into the water, water rushes in and reacts with the rubidium, producing explosively an amount of hydrogen, and that this great rush of gas blows all the water out of the tube, so the reaction stops. And then the water goes back in again, and you get another reaction, and perhaps that happens 2 or 3 times by luck, because we didn't smash the tube at the bottom, so all the metal got wet at the same time. We've got a repeat performance without having to have an action replay or whatever, so you get several reactions for the price of one. So I'm just winding it back again because there's something else which you might have noticed, but I only noticed on the 2nd or 3rd time. So what you'll see in various points is that there is a strong purple colour, or perhaps lilac might be better, which is actually the emission of light from the vapour of the rubidium. In fact, rubidium is well known to give this rather nice colour, and everything is getting so hot that you can see emissions here, here, and so on of this light, which is perhaps slightly masked by the pink colour of the indicator. Indicators, like this one, are acids which react with an alkali and change their structure and change their colour. In this particular case, with phenolphthalein, the acid is colourless. And when you change structure, it goes red.
Neil, get cleaner, mate.
And the reason it goes red is that as the structure changes, the energy levels of the electrons within the molecule also change, and so they absorb visible light. And it looks red because, in fact, it's absorbing blue light, so the red light can still get through. And this reaction is very fast because what happens is that H plus and OH minus ions are moving around very rapidly, and they move through water at a very high speed, and so the reaction takes place very much faster than the speed of our camera. The rubidium hydroxide is reacting with the acid, the colourless indicator, to make rubidium phenolphthalate, plus water. So in effect, H plus is leaving the acid and reacting with OH minus to give water.